Savage. What's going on, Savages? Welcome to another episode of the Savage Snowflake podcast with me, Jeff Leach. Your lover, your friend, your confidant, your teacher, your studious and doting protege, your friend who never really shows up, but sometimes out of the blue I'll just give you a call and you'll be like, hey, what's up, man? I'll be like, hey, I was just listening to the radio and a song came on, it made me think of you, and I fell a little bit in love with that moment, and I wondered how you've been, and I realised we hadn't spoken to each other for quite a while, so I just thought I'd drop you a call, and you'd be like, oh, that's really fucking sweet, man. Normally people just text, but that's really personal that you chose to take that extra step. And I go, yeah, I know I'm not in your life enough, but I do care about you. I just want you to know. That friend. I might be a little high. I did have a little weed. I did smoke a little weed a little earlier, and sometimes that makes me wonderful. Sometimes that makes me a little bit too verbose for the moment, and maybe that's what just happened there for people. But some of you don't care, and you still come back every single week, and you support this podcast. And those people I'm very grateful for. If you are a patron at patreon.com/Savage Snowflake, thank you very much. Little Dan TB here, just $35 a month, that motherfucker. You know, he's living on a pittance. He barely eats every month because he's donating to this podcast. But look, he's got his face right behind my big old head. And thank you very much to our sponsors as well. We got manscaped.com over here, which is refining the gentleman. If you are a more hirsute gentleman like I am, you need to trim your downstairs areas. You look disgusting, men. Stop it. It's not hygienic. Get the lawnmower 2.0, trim that motherfucker down, and ladies will thank you. Some gentlemen will as well, if you go to the right bars on a Friday night. If you use code SAVAGE at manscaped.com, you get yourself 20% off all of their wonderful items. You get a free leather travel bag and free shipping. And over here, Boundless Tech, the finest purveyors of vaping technology. Who needs to get high? Me, apparently. Only because I hate myself and my parents never really loved me. If you want to do the same thing as me, you want to grab yourself a Terra or maybe a CF710 from their website, bndlstech.com. That's boundlesstech.com. Use code SAVAGE, you get 25% off every single one of their units. That's an incredible saving. Thank you very much. I appreciate you sponsors, and I appreciate my guests even more so. Joining me today, this gorgeous lady, is Camilla Cleese, comedian, actress, and writer. How are you?
Good. How are you, lovely?
I'm all right. A little high, as I just pointed
out.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to bring chicken wings into it.
I wish. I fucking love
You
chicken
managed
wings.
to work chicken wings into your set the other night about 7 times. You
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Were you high then too?
Yeah, I think I might have been. It's when I'm high, I get the obvious munchies.
Yeah.
But very specifically, chicken wings is my go-to. Like,
I do. Chicken wings are delicious.
They're amazing. And a very American
They're
snack.
very much better in America. They try to do them in England. And
Now, I should say, for the listeners who don't already know you.
you should explain. I am English.
You're English, but the accent is because you were raised in America predominantly, correct?
And to piss my dad off.
And to piss off your dad, yeah.
It really does.
So do you feel like you're a British person, or do you feel like you're an American?
On the inside, I feel super British. Like, I still shove my emotions down as deep as possible.
Well, you're very self-deprecating as well.
I'm self-deprecating. I apologize at the beginning of every sentence, like, just in case I say something offensive, which I almost always do.
But you have an impeccable education, and that's not very American.
Well, but I moved here when I was 12, so
Shit.
and then I skipped 2 grades. So
you know, slavery was a thing, right?
What?
No. All right, you were educated in America. Okay, fair.
Wait, but the Holocaust wasn't.
No, that didn't exist.
No.
If you check the right websites, I think.
I know nothing about American history. I missed that year.
Really?
Like, literally that entire year.
If it makes you feel better, the joke is that most Americans don't know anything about American history.
Or geography.
I
have a friend from Georgia, the country, and it's the funniest shit ever.
When she says, I'm from Georgia, and people are like, oh, man.
Because she has an accent, and they're like, you don't sound like you're from Georgia.
You sound like you're from the Middle East.
And she's like, no, Georgia, the country. They're like, Georgia's a state.
That's because that's because people probably from that part of the world to these people are just brown people. It always confuses me that when someone says Asian, they just mean like Japanese or Chinese or Korean.
Because they don't realize that the continent of Asia actually includes a lot of other
It does wind me up a little bit. But then again, English people are stupid to certain aspects of the world. Does that make sense? Like, we might have a base level better education, but then we can be...
They have more of a curiosity, I think, about the world. Like,
Americans.
I mean, no, Brits.
Really?
Well, they know more about American politics than we do.
That's true.
I mean, about just the world events in general.
We do have an interest in world events in the UK. So, like, our news will cover global news. But then again, we are a very small island.
Right.
And actually, in the grand scheme of things, we need to know what these superpowers around us are playing at. Do you know what I mean?
Our enormous country, like, how much news covered the royal baby?
Oh, yeah. Fucking, they love it. They love talking
like,
about Archie.
Why are they so, like... do you care about the royal family?
I don't. I'm not a royalist in the slightest. I
think they're mascots.
I think
they do. I mean, look, it's nice for morale, I suppose, but like, other than that, what's the fucking point?
Have you ever met any of the royal family?
I've sort of in past. So the school that I went to growing up was a very snooty, all-girls school. It was sort of the sister school to where the princes went.
Can you hear my stomach? Did you hear it?
I heard a little...
really rumbling.
It wasn't that loud.
We might have to order wings.
Yeah.
That could be part of the podcast.
We should.
Yeah.
You guys can hear what it sounds like to order wings.
And you know what's going to happen then is...
I'm not eating them on the podcast.
The YouTube community of Now We Feast are going to start going after me and being like, they already do this on Hot Wings, motherfucker. You can't do that. You can't bring comics on.
Oh,
it's a
that
really
would be
fun,
joke thievery.
I mean, literally, that would be being as bad as the fat Jewish. Do you know what I mean? Just take someone else's concept and pass it off as your own.
But then maybe he'd take a picture of us and put it on and we'd get a big following.
Oh my God. The cyclical nature of meme versus original thought.
It's amazing. Isn't it funny that memes... It's just a selfie for personality.
What memes?
Not if they're funny, but like I'm talking about like the inspirational memes that girls post.
Oh, that shit. Yeah. Like
that are always
like it's your last.
Yeah.
Just remember, you're beautiful on the inside and the out. You just have to find a way to find your inner truth.
Have you ever noticed though, that
15.
the girls always they always post things though that are like. It's like they're trying to talk themselves into that's what they are. Like it'll be like, my body is my temple, and I'm like, why do you put so much cocaine and dick in your temple? Like,
yeah, I mean those are
just because you're a vegan doesn't mean that those things.
I mean, high in protein though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cum.
Yeah,
apparently.
but vegan is not high in protein diet.
Also, I heard that the proteins that are found in cum are not actually. They don't nourish the body like general protein does.
Because most men are most scientists are men, so of course they came up with that
shit off. But and I read something that basically going that you can get some protein out of cum, but it's not like it's a bit of a myth that it really you're not going to wake up the next morning and be like, fucking look how stacked I am.
Right. Well,
because I tried. I sucked a lot of dick.
Did you?
Just over one weekend, just to give it a go. It was either that or steroids, and I was like, what's free? Dick. So I went out, I got the grinder
One
app.
way to get some testosterone, though,
exactly.
I suppose, isn't it?
Exactly.
Or is there even testosterone in the actual... I've never thought about that.
You have to put an entire testicle
really
in your mouth to get the testosterone. Ugh. Bite straight into it like a bull.
All right, I'm over the chicken wings.
They do that. In some countries, they eat warm... It's a delicacy. I know. Warm testicles, right?
I know. I've traveled. I'm not American.
You've never
I have a passport.
You've never tried.
I have 2 passports.
You've never tried any weird. I don't know.
No.
I feel like Asia have got a lot of bugs and insects.
They messed with me so much as a child. Like they told me that quail's eggs were mole's eggs, and like every food that I have an issue with because I thought it was something else growing up.
Because you were told that by your comedian father.
Yeah. I also thought I was purchased at Harrods until I was like 13.
Really?
Yeah. And when
at least you were bought from a really high-end store.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty...
Yeah. But they had a big Harrods bag that I would get chased around the house with. Like, you're going back.
Take you back. That's
We're going to
hilarious.
find one that looks like you but doesn't talk.
That is the most ridiculously celebrity / highfalutin story I've ever heard.
The fact that
we
had
purchased from Harrods,
not
darling.
only that, we had a big enough Harrods bag to carry all that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, but it did instill, like, I get anxiety at department stores to this day, which may be completely unrelated, whatever.
Because you're worried someone's going to throw a bag over your head.
It's been good for my credit cards.
Worrying that you're going to be suffocated by a fucking Ralph's bag. Well, obviously, look,
Ralph's,
we're
by the
talking
way,
about
not a department store.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
We're talking about, well, I mean, it's a department store for the likes of
you.
me. Like, when
Okay.
I go in there, it's like,
You're
wow,
like,
there's
oh.
kitchenware in here as well. This is a department store.
Where do you buy your clothes in
As soon
there?
as they start saying underwear in there, it's a full-on department store for me.
CVS is my go-to.
I'm from I was from the burbs. I was from the suburbs. We were middle class, working middle class family.
Where?
You struggle, down the pit all day, every day. My dad works.
Are you doing the 4 Yorkshiremen?
My dad worked on the docks. My mum was a northern coal miner. Actually, she was.
She wasn't.
She was. Yeah,
she mined the coal.
My mum was called Terry. She was a northern coal miner.
Was she a woman?
He was a washerwoman down in East London, and they both worked tirelessly to give us a life. And no, there were no Harrods bags.
That's amazing.
We wish we could have even seen a Harrods bag.
Well, I have one, I'm sure, somewhere. Or
Your
my
parents
dad.
do.
No,
Your mum and dad definitely do.
My stepmom definitely does.
There you
yeah.
go. So we're talking. Look, those again of the audience who don't already know. Your father is John Cleese, the sort of, celebrated and immensely funny British actor and comedian.
Yeah.
That's a strange upbringing to have, I imagine.
Fucking weird, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fun weird, or one of those like,
you don't know that it's weird.
Sniffing heroin by 11 years old.
I was doing coke at 12, but...
All right, so it is that weird, yeah.
But that was more due to lack of supervision and...
Which is part and parcel of famous parents.
Yeah, I mean, that's the downside, is like you don't really have them. Like they're... I saw
because
more
everyone
on
else wants
TV.
them as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition, and we're super close now. But especially after I moved to the U.S. with my mom, I saw him like once a year. I would go back for 3 months for the summer, and then he'd go work in America on a movie or something.
Yeah.
So it was like, and back then, this is gonna age me a little bit, but we didn't even have like cell phones or
I was
he
around
actually had a car phone.
I was around pre-cell phone.
Okay, how old are you?
35.
Oh, you are.
And the first cell phone that
Give it up for 35.
There we go.
Me too.
It's a great age.
Yeah.
And then the first one that my dad ever had was like Motorola that had like a battery about that fucking thick. If you're looking at the
My
camera.
dad had a car phone and it was like this big.
Oh my god,
it was amazing.
Love that. They were like old war, wasn't it? It was old like war because they rolled them out in the Second World War.
Right.
The portable phones.
They look like the satellite phones in movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the huge.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
And so, were you aware when you were a kid that your dad was famous, or was it?
Not
Daddy,
really.
Lots of people want to talk to Daddy.
I didn't understand for quite some time. I mean, looking back, I'm like, holy shit. Like every childhood photo, he's in a dress, a policeman's costume, a priest. Like there's no normal photo of us together. My earliest memory is him getting dangled out of a window by Kevin Kline in A Fish Called Wanda and getting escorted off the set because I was pissed that my dad was being like, and understandably so, because you don't understand the
How old
difference.
were you then?
22. No,
No, you were.
I was 4.
Yeah, 4
yeah,
years
I was
old,
a baby.
And you were like, Dad.
Yeah, and then going to a movie premiere. It was what was it called? Eric the Viking, I think it was.
Okay.
And I sat next to him, and he dies in like the opening film, and I started crying, and then I looked over, and apparently I got very mad at myself but like it is confusing. Plus, my mom was an actress, and my stepbrother's dad was a professional golfer, so I thought everyone's parents were on TV. Like I didn't just think it was mine, and it took a long time to understand sort of what acting was like. And it's not like he ran around being Basil Fawlty or something. Thank fucking God. But but it is, looking back, you don't know it's not normal at the time, and then you hear what other people's childhoods are like, and you're like,
oh, mine was a little bit different to that.
It's a little bit strange.
Well, this is why so many children of That's a beautiful little bit of music. I didn't even realize my window's out there. That's the old Mexican guy who drives down in a van and he sells fruit out the back of it.
I love their fruit.
Da-na-na-na-na-na. But when I was
sounds like an ice cream truck.
Listen, that's what I was gonna say. Like as a Brit kid,
yeah,
this is ice cream, And it would normally do...
Which would be disappointing when they have...
running down. London Bridge is burning down. And then you run outside
Such
and you
a
take
happy
£1
song for
or
ice cream.
50p back in the original days. And I get a screwball. Do you remember what a screwball was?
It sounds weirdly sexual.
Plastic cone. So one of those little plastic cones pots for the, and he put 2 really shitty, cheap, they break apart pasty bubble gums at the bottom of the plastic thing, and then it's like swirly soft serve ice cream, vanilla ice cream.
That was what
and then you get
I
chocolate
and
and red
flakes,
sauce.
The flakes,
hundreds and thousands.
not
chocolate
the flakes, but like the sticks that were flaky.
Oh, and then you get a flake, a chocolate
like
flake,
stuck in the cone.
1 or 2 of them.
But what were they called? There was a name for that soft serve ice cream.
Just
so good.
fucking vanilla ice cream. Just ice cream. When you're a kid, that is ice cream.
That was the best.
The shit your mum gets you from the store, you're like, that's
it's
not
actually
ice cream.
a bit like McDonald's.
It's
ice
creamy
cream,
ice.
I think. No, it's not.
Soft serve is the only ice cream that makes any sense to children.
Yeah. Well, because you don't have to scoop it and stuff. That's difficult for children.
Now, I imagine you don't get ice cream vans rolling down the roads when, you're growing up in the household of John Cleese.
Oh,
Because you're in nice areas. Ice cream vans don't go to the fucking posh people's houses.
yeah, they do.
Do they?
Well, they make like private visits. I'm kidding. I always remember.
I've just imagined that now. Ice cream Thursdays.
Well, we always had tons.
Camilla, Bartholomew,
My dad.
Theobald, come. The ice cream man
Bartholomew.
shall be here shortly.
Okay, but
Oh, Mama, may I have a flake this eve? Of course you may, darling. You've been incredibly good with your Latin homework. And then, hello, how are you, man? Everyone's like, hello, Mr. Doran.
You are high, aren't you?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, they had Did they have chicken wings in the ice cream?
Drugs. They used to sell drugs out of our one. Fucking weed.
Yeah.
That's where you get your weed.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I loved it.
They probably have those now. Food trucks.
I'll get a
right?
flake. Give me some of that flake. The
That
green
sounds-
flake.
That sounds more like another drug, I think. So.
Flake?
No.
Cocaine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did you do coke for?
I retired at
It was a good innings. I retired.
I had a good career.
Yeah, me too.
I gave it my all. I
Yeah.
mean, anything I do, I give it 100%, and I just wasn't very good at it. Is
Good.
The problem.
I'm glad to hear that because
Yeah.
that's why you're still alive and why you
Right.
can go.
Well,
on and
I
do
thought I was, but the police didn't. So
Yeah.
that was a problem.
I
But,
dodged any kind of jail or police experience.
Well, fuck
because
you.
of drugs. No, but I got locked. I got in a bit of trouble for fighting a couple of times with the police.
I can see how people would. You don't strike me as the type to fight.
You're
but
about to say I can see how people would want to
fight
punch you in the face.
No, but well, first of all, you said the other night. Yeah, I can, but that guy wasn't going to punch you because he would have got his ass
He
beat.
wasn't, yeah.
But you look like the guy that would be in a fight. So
Yeah,
if
that's
you
true.
if you were casting,
I like fighting.
Yeah, but like I mean, personally, I wouldn't pick a fight with you because you're quite large and you look like you know how to
We would
fight.
never have a fight.
And
could
look,
never hit a
you have
woman,
like
but-
brass knuckles. Yeah, well, No, actually, you did say that there was like some exception. I feel like in your set the other night.
Never an exception to hit a woman ever. No.
What about this?
Actually,
What about
if a
this?
woman's
Okay.
but I didn't say this in my set. But if a woman came at me with a
I'm
knife or a
confusing you
gun,
with
and I had to like knock it
I'm sorry.
aside.
I'm actually confusing you with someone that really wasn't funny, which is not nice of me. I didn't need to tell you that part.
That's
and
all
I'm
right.
not even high. But
Well,
I
thanks
will
for
say,
comparing
would
me
it
to
be
someone who's
okay? Do you think it would be okay if I was antagonizing Brad Williams? Could he hit me?
I don't know who Brad Williams is.
Can you Google him real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Is it a comedian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what this person, if you were antagonizing him, would it be okay if he hit you?
Yeah.
Is he minuscule or is he a little person? He's a little person. He's a little munchkin.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or Nick Novicki. He's like 3'10".
What's his name? Brad Williams.
Yeah.
Brad Williams, comedian. First of all, I mean, great question. This is the age-old question. You know, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses, or would you rather fight one horse-sized duck? You know, And it's like
I really will think about that the rest of the day.
I mean, I'd rather go for the one horse-sized duck personally, because I think it's going to waddle. It's going to move slowly. You can get round the back of it. You can probably get their necks are very brittle.
Birds are dumb
you get
as
behind
shit.
it, get it in a fucking headlock and just snap the neck.
You
just
know what?
Roll the shoulders and snap
I
the
rode
neck.
horses professionally for a long time.
They're strong.
There's not only strong, like the smaller they are,
This little guy. Oh,
the
man.
worse attitude that they have. Or Nick Novicki, I think, is even tinier. I tried to get him.
Can I make a point?
Can
very
I
quickly,
tell you what
I feel like a piece of shit. I just laughed at and when this little guy about Brad Williams, who is an actor and a comedian, very successful.
He's very successful.
And he's a little person.
He's hilarious.
And you know what? Here's the deal.
He's married to a very beautiful girl.
I understand it's incredibly fucking regressive and unprogressive of me to laugh when I see like a little person. But I have little people that I have performed with or, know in the world.
I bet you know Iman.
I do know Iman Hadachi. Yeah, there's a photo of me.
He would have been a better example.
There's a photo of me naked with a golf sock over my cock and balls with a rose in my teeth holding his hand, and he's in a little suit with a little fedora. Why do little people always wear fedoras? Look, Brad Williams in a fedora as well.
But Iman's so interesting because he's like completely proportionate.
Yeah.
You would... It's...
But we're standing hand in hand.
Yeah.
And he's like, looking at me all naked. But...
I tried to get him to do a video.
He'll tell me he's adorable. He'll go, it's funny to see little people. Yeah, I like, because we're an anomaly, visually and aesthetically, he'll say that it is funny. In the same way that my friend with cerebral palsy, a comic back in the UK, Timothy Renkow, will rag on cerebral palsy, and he'll rag on it and go, of course it's funny, my fucking body's spazzing out all the time. It's annoying for me, but it's funny to see. Now, I don't stand in the street and laugh at people's physical disabilities, or I'm not going to see a little person go, ha 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 ha. But I like that there is something that catches me off guard aesthetically when I see a little person. I'm like, whoa, he's so little. Yeah. And it's kind of exciting
you know what?
to me.
People do that about me.
But like, I'm 6'1". Physicality. Like, I won't ever grab him or touch him or like go, hey man, let me pick you up. I'm not a piece of shit. But I will go, it's kind of amazing to see someone with such tiny limbs. It's fucking amazing.
It really is. Like and Iman I adore, and I tried to get him to do this video with me where like I was pushing him and then like he winds up like he's gonna hit me, and then you pause it and you put the caption, is this the one time it's okay for a man to hit a woman?
There you go.
And he's too nice of a guy. He didn't want to do it.
Unbelievable.
And
it's because he thought he was going to lose the fight.
I think he's one person I could win against.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm definitely putting a bet on you.
Yeah.
100%.
My foot is like bigger than his head. I mean, he really is.
One step forward.
But the thing is, it is interesting because, and you may get some of this too. Like, I think I'm probably taller for a woman than you are for a man. Like, if you put it on the spectrum, the bell curve or whatever.
You are a very lofty lady.
I'm very lofty. I like that.
How
lofty.
tall are you?
I'm 6'1.25".
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't usually
say. You did
I did.
Runway, yeah.
But, years ago.
Yeah.
Before Instagram and all that changed.
Well, now you need to just have a huge fucking ass.
Back when you actually had to look like your photographs, because they didn't have digital yet.
That's
that
true. Couldn't cinch the waist and fucking, cover all the lines. Yeah, crazy.
Well, I did well during the heroin chic phase. Like when that was in, that was my look. And now I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Unless I get...
Kate Moss ruined it.
No, she was like
that. Ruined it?
No, she was like my mentor. I mean, not my mentor because I don't know her, but I still idolize her.
Sure.
Which makes no sense, but I do love...
I don't know. She changed. Kate. She changed the landscape for... She was like the first... She's still one of the last supermodels.
Yeah.
But she also
she was 5'7",
you
which
can
was
be rock and roll as fuck and be a woman in that industry. It's okay.
And hot.
Yeah, you don't have to just be pretty and coy.
Someone said to me once the smartest thing that she ever did was keep her mouth shut because it's so mysterious. And if you hear her talk, it's a bit...
just Kate Moss in there.
It's a bit disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah, bless her.
Yeah. I love her.
But
her
she
and Brittany
are
like my
sensual and sexual.
No, you don't. You don't get the Kate Middleton. Well, no, she doesn't sound sensual.
I met her a couple of times in passing through friends.
Yeah.
Like Sadie
I've
Frost.
seen her.
I used to hang out with Sadie Frost. We had a little.
Oh, you did?
Just a tiny little dalliance for a short period of time.
She wanted to experience a larger man.
Oh, she dates small guys, does she?
Well, she was with Jude Law, wasn't she?
Yeah, this was after her and Jude Law.
Yeah.
And then, I hung out with her a few times. And Sadie, I found to be a really lovely, kind person.
I've heard she's lovely.
We just didn't, I think, maybe there was a little disconnect in age. You know, she was quite a bit older than me. So
is she?
Even though...
I guess she is.
She's at least a good decade to 15 years older than me, at least, I think. So, but she's gorgeous.
Beautiful, yeah.
And she was even more gorgeous, 10 years ago when we knew each other. But I'm
going to tell her you said that.
But that whole, you can tell her. It's all right. I'm not saying anything. She's
we
stunning.
all are.
She's fucking stunning. If I can,
I was way better looking 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, actually, here's the deal. I don't know what you looked like 10 years ago. I saw a photo of myself from 10 years ago very recently on one of those like memories or some shit on Facebook, or someone posted a photo of us, and I look like dog shit. And even though, don't get me wrong, I look older now, I think I look more handsome as I get older.
A lot of men
generally
do. Right? Yeah, I've always dated older, and I think, and that's really fucking unfair, by the way. But
is that because, again, daddy's girl? Were you a daddy's girl at all?
No, I think I just also recognized quite early on that, like, I was quite grown up in some ways, not others, sure. but like I moved around so much, and I lived in England and Chicago, Southern Illinois.
You were very eloquent and confident with new people. Or?
I was super shy growing up. I mean,
really?
Well, when I moved to the States, I was like 2 years young for my grade. I was 5'10" and 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah.
Had such a thick British accent, and I was really shy. And I was like in the math club, and I played the cello.
Oh shit!
And I don't think I'd ever talked to a boy. Like I'd always been in girls' schools.
You moved to Los Angeles.
Well, first Southern Illinois. You want to talk about culture shock? Like to a fucking cornfield.
What was Southern Illinois like?
Like population, I'm not joking. It was like 1,700 people, and like 1,600 have the same last name. Like it was.
Why? Why were you moved to? Why did you move?
My mom was getting remarried, and then it didn't work out. Thankfully, he turned out to be a not good person.
Oh, okay.
But we then moved to Chicago downtown, which was great once I got the hang of it. But it was definitely like, the kids called their teachers by their first name, and
Yeah?
I was used to organized recess. Like, we couldn't talk at lunch.
You lived in Chi-Town?
Yeah.
Wow. Are you gangster?
I was actually...
Are you
I grew up with a lot of the mafia. Like, I actually shouldn't even go into that right now. I was a bad kid. I tried to be a coke dealer. I was really bad at that.
Really?
Terrible. Well, I'm not the most like inconspicuous person in the world. Like
this fucking
I walk into a room
11-year-old walking around the streets with little packages.
It wasn't until I was like 19, but yeah.
Plus,
like,
you were doing the silly walk that your dads did in the movies, which probably made you stand out even more.
I have had to do that before, which is so fucking...
Family reunions.
It's actually hard. I have to train when I do it
to kick up the legs.
Well, it's a lot of balance, and it's a lot of weird angles, but I have the same legs as my dad, which is, it's actually kind of he has good legs.
Infinite legs.
Yeah, my legs are, there's one place I can buy jeans.
Really?
I should tell you about them because you probably...
Big and tall? There's
Fuck
two places.
yourself?
There's two places you can buy them. Big and tall as well.
No, because that's for people who are big and tall.
What you do is you get one pair of trousers from Big and Tall, then you cut them in half, right?
Yeah.
And then you sew two little lines down the middle of one leg, and then you cut up the middle of it. Do I look like I
know how to sew?
And then boom, you got two pairs of trousers for the price of one. Big and Tall. Trust me, I've got them. They're a sponsor.
No, they're not.
Use code SAVAGE at Big and Tall for 50% off.
Especially in the women's department.
In the women's department. Only the women's department. They don't have one. Braziers, that's it. We just specialize in
My mom tried to drag me in there when I was in 8th grade, and I was like bawling in the mall. I'll never forget it. It was horrible. But G-Star, and because they're based in Amsterdam, where I fit in.
Right.
Beautifully. I love
Lots of tall blonde ladies out there, aren't
there?
Yeah.
It's wonderful. But I wear 26-36.
What's your heritage, actually? Because obviously I know your dad's British. I don't know where your mum's from. And you do look very Scandinavian. You've got a very, like, Nordic, Scandinavian, tall, blonde.
Yeah, I definitely feel at home in Sweden and Norway, and but I don't know. My mom said her side is like German. Her maiden name was. They've been married so many times.
Okay.
Maiden name was Schilling.
A Schilling.
A Schilling,
Das
yes.
ist Schilling.
So she was
Super.
German. I think a little French. Maybe.
Is that German Jewish? Jewish
No,
German?
no.
Schilling. I thought when there's a sh in the it's a Jewish kind of, I don't know. Give me a like Schubert. I don't know.
You're thinking of Shabbat.
No,
Shalom?
well, no, I'm not. Shabbat, shalom. Yeah, I mean, but no, like when Gersh, like when there's a sh sound in a lot of names.
Gersh.
Like, that's a Jewish name.
That's
isn't
at the end of the name, though.
But yeah, it's in there though. It's like
yeah, but that's like saying when I say shh, that's Jewish. Like that makes no sense.
I mean, it is. If you go into a Jewish deli and
maybe if you put
throw
a
a few
C,
shushes around,
you're like
hey,
shh, and there's a C in the shh. I don't know.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, I
Yeah,
meant like with
okay.
a C in there.
No, I don't believe there was any Jewish. My sister's Jewish.
Yeah.
She converted.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did she have to do a bat mitzvah?
I don't know if she made it that far. And she was married. They're now divorced. She was married longer than anyone else in my family ever was, I think. But
How many times has your mum and dad remarried?
well, one of my favorite stand-up jokes, I always say that it's really impressive. They've been married almost 42 years to 7 different people. But my mom was on number 3, and my dad's on number 4.
Wow.
But my mom's done.
Do you think they're love addicts? Is there maybe there's a bit of love addiction?
My
there?
dad is 100%.
Yeah.
Like it goes. It's funny. They never told me, my parents, that they met backstage Hollywood Bowl, married 3 months later, having not spent much time together.
That's kind of awesome though, as well.
It is kind of awesome.
But clearly didn't work out. But
Right.
But they created
they
something wonderful. So there you go.
Thank you. I like to think so. But they didn't want to tell me that because once they separated, they didn't want to set a bad example, and so that I would rush into getting married.
Sure.
Which, believe me, watching them, I certainly won't.
No. You've never been married.
No.
Okay.
Like I don't know if I ever want to, because I could basically be a divorce lawyer at this point.
Yeah,
like I've gone through so much of it with them.
That's very hard.
But it's funny because
for a
it's
child
like
growing up.
So wait, you didn't want to tell me you only dated 3 months, but you were willing to let me believe it was my fault you got a divorce? Like,
Yeah. Hey, my
and
parents.
I
used
actually
to say,
knew better because
on a
they
daily
hated
basis,
each other.
They used
Like,
to scream at each other, and then they would say to us, "Oh, we're only together because of you two."
yeah.
They said to my sister and I, and that fucked us up. It really
You know
fucked us
what's
up.
interesting though? Kids are so perceptive. Like
Yeah.
I remember when they told me they were separating, and I was like,
Good.
"What's the problem?
Yeah,
like
good.
2 Christmases? Fuck yeah!" Like I knew it was a good thing, and I was, I don't know, 5, 4.
Yeah.
Like, because all they did was yell at they clearly hated each other, and knowing them as adults,
Yeah.
and they were friends as as time went on. And
Sure.
My dad married many other people and whatever.
They
But
started a support group.
But like knowing them as adults, you could not think of 2 more incompatible people, because my dad is like very analytical, logical, reasoning, cognitive. Like my mom is so emotional, no reasoning.
So there's
can't
an
organize.
imbalance between where they're at.
But and I know opposites
things.
attract, but like to the point where it would just they'd drive each other crazy. But my mom was a supermodel. My dad just got famous, so there you go.
Who do you think you are turning out to be more like, if you had to say one of them?
I think I look more, or I hope I look more like my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like really hope.
Your dad was a good-looking lad, though. He wasn't a bad-looking guy.
He doesn't have a mouth.
What do you mean?
Look it up.
No lips.
No lips.
All right, but
And his upper
he
lip.
Was
his-
kind of a
his upper
square-jawed,
lip-
tall guy.
No, he was a handsome man, but he's a
Yeah.
very he has an underbite.
Does he? Like actually, out.
Look at a photo of him.
Fucking. Well, I mean, I saw it. Yeah, he got a bit of a. All right. but
There's a reason he has a mustache. Let's just.
It brings out the top of the face.
Well, no, because he has
gonna
the
be weird
longest
if I got
upper
that.
lip you've ever seen. Like
Really?
he
Whoop. Yeah, okay, I can see that. I always thought that was like a characterization with various characters a little bit. It was like,
Well, the Gumbies. I don't know if you remember that Monty Python character.
I don't.
It's basically Trump, but they have like a handkerchief on their head, and they're like, and they're really. It's one of my dad's finest performances. But it is funny.
How does a young lady who's going into comedy herself and acting herself go, okay, well, look, I want to pay, the respect that is deserving to my father as a performer, because he's obviously had great success. You know what I'm saying, though?
I do. I love him, and I'm so proud of him. Yeah.
And continues to do, as a working actor and comic.
Pink Panther, too.
Exactly, yeah. He's done amazing stuff. But you know what I'm saying?
I always we have a running joke. That's how I introduce him when I work with him.
You may remember him from such
You
things
know him from Pink Panther too. Give it up for John Cleese, and it pisses him off to know.
That is funny though. I like that. But then another part of it is also you have to make sure that to be taken seriously, to be able to do your work your own way, you have to distance yourself enough and go, all right, my father is this person, but this is who I am as a performer. Because I'm friends with Kaylee as well. Chevy Chase's daughter. Yeah, we're very good friends.
Did you see that picture when we introduced our dads?
I did. Is that the first time they met?
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that.
They'd both just done this like Crocodile Dundee movie or something.
Right, okay.
Like I was like, what are you doing?
The new one.
Who knows? I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, they're redoing it, yeah.
But they were never on set at the same time, and Kaylee texted me saying that they were working on it together, and then she's like, oh no, wait, they're not going to see each other, and we had this whole prank planned out, which I won't even go into, but it is quite funny. But I guess they wanted to meet, and so Kaylee and I set up this brunch, and they both, it was pretty hilarious.
That's like a couple of old comedy rock stars. Yeah, because they both, and this is the little, like, I've never met your father, so I don't, and I've actually never met Chevy Chase either, but
Kaylee's so great, but we both serve the same role to our dads. It became very
it's
clear.
Part daughter, part full-time assistant, part a mother, part therapist, part
life support machine.
Look, everyone's getting all the visceral sounds on this podcast. We've got a plane going over. I'm going to leave the window open. I quite like it, and the breeze is nice. It's too hot otherwise. But I apologize for. I feel like it's nice. You're literally here in my front room with me, listeners.
Yeah.
But the meeting of those two guys, who actually, as far as I know, from the industry now, I know Chevy certainly pissed a lot of people off over the course of his career. Your dad hasn't, as far like he doesn't have.
Have you seen his Twitter lately?
Oh no, I haven't. But in terms of, well, there you go. So that's as little as I know. But
I never should have taught him how.
Really, he started talking about the world, and I mean, well, look,
not the world. The British press. That's all. He antagonizes them on a daily basis.
Oh, really?
And I went and did Edinburgh like an idiot.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
Well, what my point being, they're both rock and roll enough that they were legends, but
in
they're also
their own respective countries.
But also two people that a lot of people were a little bit intimidated by. Mm-hmm. Those two meeting for the first time is quite fucking. That's quite monumental.
It was quite funny. They're both a little bit. They're at that age now where they give zero fucks. I don't think they gave any fucks before, but they give less than zero fucks, which is a little bit frightening sometimes. But they're also, they kind of live in their own little planets.
Yeah.
Like they're a little disconnected from.
I'd be a little worried that they would have both been not fighting for the limelight, but they're both big characters. So I'd be like, oh god, are they gonna sort of pay homage to each other, or are they gonna? What's
funny is they were much more sort of respecting of each other, and sometimes I've found that when my dad meets a lot of those guys that when they did the Monty Python reunion at the O2, I flew back to London, and there's a stadium of people that worship my dad, and I wasn't alive for Monty Python.
Okay,
so I never got to see the reaction or any of the live shows, and to see I think it was 16 to 18,000 people sold out, repeating the lines, the love in the room, chanting I was. Oh,
they're an institution of comedy.
I mean,
globally.
I got so sentimental, which I never do. By the way, I'm British at heart.
We don't cry. We don't cry.
I cried every every intermission, and he'd be like, "Why are you crying? All right, wake me up in 15 minutes." And I'm like, "You're taking a nap? There's 60,000 people."
I love
like,
napping.
but he's just done it for so
I can't
long.
wait to have I can
But they
take a
had
nap
so much
success.
fun
That's
doing
what I
it.
want. I want to be successful enough where I can take a nap backstage.
Well, where your adrenaline isn't going when you walk off the stage from that kind of like standing ovation, and
Yeah.
you're like, I'm just gonna doze for 10 minutes.
Yeah, but come on, he's an old boy. He needs a little nap every now and then. That was probably tiring.
He had to have someone change his socks. Like they added musical.
No, he didn't have to have someone do it. He wanted someone to do it.
No, he had to because he hasn't worn socks. He refuses to wear socks. He hasn't in 30 years or something like that.
Really?
Even to black tie shit. It drives me insane.
What does he just wear? Just like shoes?
He wears the
with no
same
socks?
outfit every day.
Amazing.
And I like steal it and wash it and put it back. Like I can't.
Sandals?
He just doesn't
What were you
care.
talking? What's he rocking? Jesus sandals?
Bedroom slippers, but they're like nice
Crocs.
enough to.
Get him a pair of fucking Crocs.
No, because he'll fall in love and then I'll be in trouble. Like then I won't be able to get him to stop.
He'll be an internet meme in like 24 hours. There'll
No,
be
you know what I wanna do?
a huge rebirth of sales amongst there'll be a whole new generation that is in love with him. He'll go and do a big speaking tour.
Oh no, I don't want him to get another wife.
You can
though.
open up. You can do the open. You can do the
I
opening
don't.
act.
I never open for him.
You never perform with your dad.
I interview him when they do shows where there's a Q&A
Okay.
because the audience submits questions and I'm very good at.
You know what he will and won't want to talk about.
Well, I know all his jokes and anecdotes, so I can set him up to make him look like some kind of comedic genius.
There you go.
No, I'm kidding. He
Behind
doesn't.
every
He doesn't
good
need that. But
man is a
I
great
may have
woman.
written some of those jokes myself, and we have fun. And he like throws glasses of water at me, and we argue and fight, and I storm off stage
And
half
the
the
audience
time.
enjoys it.
And I because he'll do this whole bit about don't have children, get cats, and then I'm like, my dog's backstage. You want him to interview you? And I bring my dog, and I put my dog on the stage, and I leave.
There you go. What
And
does
then
the
it
dog
gets
get
like-
out of him? Anything good? Any good material?
Well, my dog hates him, so it's really funny. Because my dog can't turn right. He's not an ambi turner. So my dad tries.
Hang on. That's the fucking plot of Zoolander.
I know.
That's not real life.
It is real life.
Your dog can't turn right.
No. I mean, he can if you
what
force him.
What happens if he tries to go for it? Does he just spaz out?
He'll
and
start
goes to the
to,
left?
but then like right at the last minute, he'll just flip around to the left.
Is it a muscle thing? Is it like what the fuck causes
My
that?
brother's a vet, and it could be neurological. Like someone had thrown him out a second-story window before I got him. He was 1.5 pounds. How
That's
do you,
really
how do you
sad.
do that to something
Because you're a
that
sociopath.
like a
I think
baby?
if you
I could
find
understand.
if you
100%.
if you find
Like-
someone throwing puppies out windows,
They
you
should be
have to-
thrown out of
well,
a fucking
apart from getting,
airplane.
Well,
as far
apart
as
from
I'm
getting in
concerned.
trouble with the law for what they've done, they should also be psychologically evaluated because that's the beginning of a
No, they
serial
should
killer.
just be run over.
That's the beginning of a serial killer.
It is.
If you can hurt animals like that, you can hurt people like that. That's what you find.
Animals are born with hearts of gold and innocence.
Yeah, exactly. I could never harm an animal. Make
No.
love to one. I mean, yeah, sure. You
Spiders.
know what I mean? Take it out for dinner, sing to it, serenade it. Maybe like a llama,
chicken
an alpaca,
wing?
something that can defend itself,
Okay, I
something
used
that
to
can
have
say
llamas
no,
and
so you can get
alpacas. Be
consent.
careful.
We can get
Okay,
consent as well. It would
can I
spit at
just
you
tell
and be like,
you-
sorry, I didn't.
Can I just tell you though, I am the best at naming farm animals. Like you'll never. I know. Look, I wish there was more demand for it, but
This is a very specific niche
I know. No, but
ability.
you named alpacas and llamas, and I can't not say this because these are the best animal names.
Go.
Alpacas, we had 3. Green Bay paca,
Like it.
over paca,
There you go.
fudge.
Like, I see where you're going.
I just called him fudge, and my dad was like, "I don't get it," and I was like, "Good."
Perfect.
But they used to have sex a lot on the front lawn, and
Love
then
it.
the llamas were Dalai Lama, little obvious,
Okay.
Komote Lama,
Comment llama like that.
which is hilarious, especially when the guy looking after it is Mexican and doesn't speak English, because I feel like, can you get Komote Lama? And he's like, it's Komote Llama. I'm like, I know. He's like, pero como te llama la llama?
Just a little light racism in the raising
That
of the
wasn't
fire.
racism.
I know.
No,
this was like that would have been like old school back when people were allowed to laugh at the world.
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly. I can't get away.
But you realise
with
in this day and
anything.
age, you probably have to release
No.
a public statement on Twitter apologising
I have a hate campaign.
that you against you. Why?
I'm quite proud of this. Who
have you upset?
short men.
Oh, that's why you brought up Brad Williams now. See, it's
No, but it's not about.
he's not short. He's a little person.
He's a little
actually
person.
a very
It's
tall
different.
little person.
Yeah, he is actually.
Super fucking lot. Amongst the tall little people community,
And
they're like, "Oh,
you know
what's the weather
funny?
like up there, Brad?" And he's like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's an inch warmer than where you are."
It's funny because the same bit that got me this hate campaign, one day there were 4 little people sitting in the front row when I did this bit.
Oh my god! All right.
And I started doing it and I realized they were there and I was like, you know what? Fuck it.
They're
I'm
gonna
doing
write a
it.
blog.
They loved it. They were dying laughing.
Yeah. Which is quite funny because for little people, you think a lot of the jokes would go over their head, but
I do a whole thing about dating a shorter guy and I'm like, I can see past it. Like
I like it. I like it.
it's
I like it.
the little things don't matter.
I can
you
see
know?
past it.
Just-
I mean him.
have,
I mean
like,
it.
so-
Him.
Yeah,
Same thing.
him. But I used to do this bit about how guys under 5'8" are responsible for most of the misery in the world, which
Fucking short man complex, Napoleon
Yeah.
complex. Yeah.
look at all the dictators, right?
All of them.
Napoleon, Hitler, Genghis Khan, Stalin, Tom Cruise, Justin Bieber, Oscar
They were-
Pistorius.
oh, there you go.
Never killed anyone until he was under 5'8".
That's very
That's a
funny.
great joke,
That
though,
is
right?
a great joke. That is a great joke.
Children, tiny little chairs. Anyway, it
That
went
is
on.
a great joke, yeah.
The whole reason I did it was for the Pistorius line, obviously.
There you go.
I couldn't resist.
Yeah.
Well,
Is that punching down? I guess if he doesn't have his legs attached.
he
yeah.
murdered someone.
Now, it's punching down if he hasn't got his legs on, right?
Yeah. But I can make fun of him even though
He's also a fucking murderer, yeah.
Because he's a murderer.
And released now, right? He got out really quickly.
I hope they released him without his blades.
See, you have to just roll around every
Then
night.
he got out
That
really
way, hopefully,
slowly.
he can't catch you. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I do love that Jim Jeffries bit of him going to the safe. Have you seen that?
No, he drags himself along the floor.
He does the gun control thing. What, you got to watch that part. Cause
He's
it's the
doing
best
Oscar
part.
Pistorius getting his gun out of the
Of,
fucking...
of the safe without his blades on.
Wow.
You have to. I can't
I
believe
gotta
you haven't
watch it.
seen
Nah, I
that.
gotta see it.
I
yeah.
don't watch much stand up when I'm not working, but like that is
Do you find yourself
cry.
enjoying Commonwealth comedy? You know?
Commonwealth.
Well, like British comics and Australian and...
I
you know,
do. I think
you drawn
my
to
sense
that?
of humor, I think, is more British. You can probably tell. Like I gravitate towards slightly darker, more subtle humor in some ways.
Yeah.
Like I'm never gonna be talking super fast, jumping around the stage and blah, or talking about my vagina, anal sex.
Ah, that's all the fun
Sorry.
stuff. I love anal sex and vagina jokes.
From women, because that's never been done.
Yeah, I don't know. I love a bit of it.
Look, if
I
it's funny enough to warrant
I like
going
clever
there,
sexual jokes.
that's what I mean. Like, if it's funny enough to warrant going there, go there. Go anywhere.
I have a bit of material which is about me wanting to talk about being an immigrant and not being able to vote in anything.
Yeah.
You know, and so I relate to the midterm elections as the most recent thing.
How does this relate to anal sex?
Well, this is it. So I reduced the concept of being an immigrant and not having the power to vote as to being the husband in cuckold pornography. And the idea that, like, I know something huge is about to come into my life. A lot of people are about to get fucked. And I just have to hope enough black guys show up to swing things in my favor. And it's like...
It's a good analogy.
It is, and it's like it's a funny,
That's a
ridiculous,
tough one
unique
for
concept. Like, no one's going to
people
have that
here
parallel line of thought.
to wrap their head around.
But
that.
exactly, there's a few stages to it, and there's also a bit where I know as soon as I say, like, black guys showing up to swing things in my favor, clearly that's because cuckold pornography is predominantly black men fucking a white man's wife, you know, that's the setup. And also because
I
I'm
wish
more
I didn't
likely-
just agree with that like I knew.
But it's true. You've watched it. We've all watched it. We've all been in it. We've all downloaded it. We've all paid for it. We've all staged it.
I've never paid
We've
for
all
it.
asked our closest family members to recreate it. Listen, the point is,
I did learn about sex from that. Did you ever see The Meaning of Life?
what I was going to say about that last point is that it basically it's a progressive concept that I'm going to be more likely to vote like people of color, and people in the audience, as soon as they hear the word black men coming out of a white straight man's voice, they're like, they don't know. They don't
I
even
get
listen
it.
to the joke because they're a little bit worried that something racist is about to happen. It's like, no. It's actually the polar opposite of that. If you
it's
listen
so
to the joke.
crazy how those buzzwords tighten people up.
Fuck yeah. Nowadays, yeah.
I used to do a bit about my one stepbrother who we don't get along at all, and he grew up in Texas.
Fuck that
and
guy.
He's like a misogynist, like Trump loving, gun toting. And he's colorblind, right? Like he can't see color. Don't get me wrong. Super fucking racist.
But he sees color.
You knew it was coming
in every way.
Like,
yeah.
he sees one color, skin color. But
there
like,
you go.
I got him a Rubik's Cube for Christmas. But like just saying the word, like he's super racist. People.
Yeah. Does that mean you are as well? What does that mean?
No, I don't care.
Can you catch racism? People are, I think this is the problem, is that people are too worried about virtue signaling all the time to go like, hey, look at me, I'm a good person. Hey, I hate all these bad things. It's like, you should. That should be your normal default state. You don't have to constantly tell everyone you're okay. But then that even extends to comedy, that someone will be like, I won't laugh at this joke, even though the concept is progressive, because I'm worried that if I laugh, people will think I'm on board with an idea that could be misconstrued as potentially not progressive. Which is so many layers of fucking thought about something funny. And that's why I love performing in black comedy rooms, because black audiences will literally go, this shit's funny, let me laugh.
Yeah.
And then let me think about how it could be interpreted after the fact when I care to think about it. It's like
never them that get offended by those jokes. Like I have a whole bit about getting set up with. I've been set up with so many NBA players, and I'm like,
oh really?
Well, the 6'1" thing, and I think it's kind of hilarious because I'm like,
do NBA players generally love tall women because they're tall? Is that like a thing they're into?
No, I'm pretty sure they're into like short, curvy women, as far as like, or at least now. This is a long time ago, but
it's predominantly black guys. You're saying so? Predominantly black guys are not necessarily going to be into tall white women.
Yeah, with no ass.
With no ass.
Well, it's there, but it's not. It's not.
It's not an ass.
It's not.
It's like it's a bum. It's a bum.
It's a bum.
It's a bum.
It's a
British
cute bum.
It's
it's like a happy British bum.
It's got a little top hat. It's got a moustache. It's like, hello, how are you?
Moustache.
I'm just a lovely.
No. I don't like body hair.
No moustache. It has a beautiful smooth lips, and it's like, hello. If you part your cheeks, it's like, good morning. Cheerio. How on earth have you been? Had a wonderful poop earlier on. Don't worry, shouldn't really talk about it now.
Women don't poop, darling.
I farted some rose petals earlier on.
They don't fart.
Whereas like an ass is like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
I'm an ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at my blubbly assness.
And in Photoshop, it looks great. And then you see in real life, and you're like, why is it so
tiny?
I sound and lumpy.
Do you hate the false nature of social media posts?
I hate it. It makes me very uncomfortable.
But you must, again, and this is like an unfortunate knock on from being the child of someone who has social status, that you would be around a lot of people who are always smiling and saying yes because they want to please,
him, not me.
Yeah, but you're the daughter. Like if you're on set walking around, you get a lot of yes people and a lot of like.
Most people don't know though, because
really.
Well, we don't look enough alike for it to be that obvious. Thank fucking
You've got to grow
God.
the moustache out. See, got to start getting a bit of body hair.
I've done that before for shows, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Not my proudest moments, but it's not even a funny joke.
It is. Dressing up in a silly outfit is always funny.
It is. But like when you have to imitate your dad all the time, like it's a bit weird.
Sure. Yeah.
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 But my mom wasn't as funny to imitate, so.
You can make loads of money out of it if you turn it to some kind of sexual skew. Be like, I will dress up as John
let's
Cleese.
Just not. Let's just. So how about sports?
10,000 for the night, and I'll do the silly walk.
Yeah, I get way underpaid when I tour with him. I'll tell you that much. But and that's always my joke when he's like, "Don't have children." I'm like, "Who else are you gonna underpay to go on the road with you and live on a fucking bus with you?"
That's true.
I live on a bus.
Was it inevitable that you would end up being a performer? Do you think?
Not at all.
No.
I thought I was gonna ride horses professionally the rest of my life, and then he was like, "No, I wasn't kidding about university." So I went to uni for. I think I did 2 years. My mom got sick.
Did you go to university in America or in the UK?
I went to UC Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Occasionally, not that often.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when my mom got sick the first time, I left and looked after her. And then when I was going back, my dad got asked to do a one-man show in New Zealand and asked if I would write it with him. And I was like, that's pretty weird.
And pretty cool, though.
Then I realized he can't type and I can make coffee. So, and I don't think either of us anticipated what I would contribute to it. But I always used to sit in when he was writing as a kid because I enjoyed it. It was funny, you know, it was cool.
It's so funny how you and Kaylee are so similar in the sense of like, often I think for these incredibly alpha and strong character men of comedy, very often George Carlin was the same with his daughter. Often,
I know Kelly. Yeah.
Often the daughter is the only person who can really calm, moderate, manage that man.
I hate to say like,
and that's no disrespect. By the way, that's no disrespect to these men.
Though.
You know, like I'm not saying
it's just
that
they love their daughters, and we know them well enough to know they're very different from a normal person of that age. Like here's the thing, and they can't help it. Like my dad is very grounded and cool for someone who's been famous for 50 years. But
does he still enjoy comedy? Does he still like?
Yeah.
Will he come and see you do stand up?
He will at Comedy and Magic. Have you ever performed down there?
I actually don't get booked there because
really?
A couple of friends have recommended I should go there and said it's a great club and you know the guy would like you a lot if he saw you perform. But I sent an email over, but I didn't get a response because one of my other friends said that he was told I got in a fight at the Comedy Cellar in my first 6 months of being in America. An audience member got kicked out for being drunk and disorderly and then waited outside for me. And when I came out, I got sucker punched.
That's not fair, though.
Yeah, and I defended myself and I opened his fucking head up. So it wasn't good. And I got in a little bit of trouble for it. You know, for a couple of months, I wasn't booked to the Cellar and stuff. But then they had me back. But some comic has talked to this guy. Oh, yeah, Jeff Leach gets in fights with audience members and blah, blah, blah. And told this guy, so he just doesn't want to even look at my stuff. Which sucks, right? Okay, you guys.
Oh fuck! I forgot we're on camera.
You know what I'm saying though? It's like it's
because
kind of someone
you should be working.
You know what it is? Some guy in comedy is threatened and insecure about who he is.
Shocking.
And when fuck that Jeff Leach guy, and that's okay. That's all right.
I've had that happen. Shockingly with the women.
Yeah. You just get on with it. Just be funny. Funny's funny.
Funny is funny.
It wins out, I think. As long as you're funny. And like, fuck it. If I got upset every time someone treated me like an arsehole without ever having a conversation with me or because they are like feel threatened.
People have preconceived notions. Like, if you're
I dress
British,
like a douchebag. I'm big. I wear jewelry. The peacocking. No, I do. I know what it is. But I'm also
the height,
happy.
You don't have the friendliest face when you're not smiling.
Oh, really?
It's a compliment.
Oh, shit.
No. It's like
I didn't know that one. Fucking.
It kind of is though. Like I think most attractive people, unless they're like plus size model, like they don't look super happy if they're not smiling. Like they don't. Right. They don't look friendly.
Look a bit too serious.
Like I look like a fucking cunt when I'm not smiling.
Do you have resting bitch face?
I have resting cunt face. Like. Sorry, I still use that in the British sense where like
I love a bit of cunt, don't worry.
It's one of my favorite words and I hate that I can't say it with an American accent.
You have to put on a British accent when you say it, yeah.
I just say cunt. Yeah.
Absolute cunt.
Absolute frightfully cunty.
Frightfully cunty. You sound so posh.
Literally so cunty. It's unbelievable.
I wonder if we would have liked each other in our 20s. Because I used to know, like I say, a lot of the kind of Primrose Hill set and all those kind of, you know, without being, I hope you don't take this as, an insult, but the rich kids, the rich fucking kids all had famous parents, right?
I never hung out with them.
But I knew people in that world.
We should talk after, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I wonder if you hated that group or if you clearly...
I never felt like I fit in.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Like I always gravitated growing up from a young age. I would latch onto a family that oftentimes, you know, I'm not saying like living in poverty, but like lower middle class, a lot of kids, people around all the time. Because otherwise I was just at home by myself.
Yeah.
Like occasionally with my 10-year-old brother supposedly watching me, but he, you know, was having parties at the house and it was like,
fingering girls.
Yeah, with big rings.
With rings on as well.
No, I don't think he wears rings.
Not anymore. He lost them all.
Well, he's married now, so he
lost them all.
Yeah.
In the fingering. I miss fingering. That's a great thing, isn't it? people don't do that anymore.
No?
Not really.
Not even foreplay?
I mean, we do. Older people do it. I just think like a lot of young people, they've forgotten about it. It's not
internet
something
porn
that's
is absurd.
When was the last time
changed
you've ever seen a pornography that ever had fingering in it?
I've seen a couple.
Really? Shit. You got to send me the links. I feel like it's like, suck a dick, eat a pussy for like 2 seconds.
The interesting thing I've noticed is that, and maybe this is partially why I gravitate towards dating older guys, because the generation
they can only finger because they can't get erections anymore.
Oh, there's Viagra.
I need to get him.
By the way, I flushed my dad's down the toilet, but
you what? Sorry,
nothing.
You flushed what?
My dad's down the toilet. Can you edit that out?
Oh my god!
I don't want to think about it. You know?
Sorry. Yeah.
You understand.
You got to get a bit of that. Hey, I think I'm about 3 years off that.
What?
Getting a bit of Viagra for the weekend.
It can be fun.
Whoop, one of them.
It can be fun even if you don't need it, though.
I've taken it once when I was filming a documentary about male escorting, and I became an escort for one client. It was some chick at a strip club who used to watch my TV shows, and so she hired me £300 an hour. I did 2 hours and fucked her, but I took Viagra for that because I'm doing a job and I needed, and it was all part of the program as well. Blah, blah, but I took Viagra, had great sex. And then I had more.
And was that according to you or her?
Both of us. Yeah, we both really enjoyed it. No, I did my job, which technically it was that night. And then I had this, and I had the rest of the pack. So for a little while, every now and then, I'd like take one in on a crazy weekend. If a girl was like, super sexy and wanted to come back, and I'd be like, hey, I got some Viagra. So you want to fucking, and I'd pop that and then just fucking all night long.
It goes a long time.
Time.
If you're young.
Especially if you're doing drugs as well at the time. So I was doing a lot of cocaine, and then cocaine and Viagra will make you feel like you're about to die.
Yeah, I'm sure. But the problem, I never did that, and I don't take Viagra, and for obvious reasons, and I haven't done
because you're a fucking loser, bro. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I know you are, because usually it's the other way around. But like, I can't imagine doing both, but it does cure the issue that you have when you do too much cocaine and try to have sex. So.
When women take Viagra, it does increase the sensitivity of the clitoris.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I need that.
If do you reckon if there was an over-the-counter, like there is with Viagra, an over-the-counter, or that's prescription Viagra, right? Still?
Yeah.
Still prescription.
Not
but if there was, if women could go to their local GP, their local doctor, and just say, my boyfriend, my husband, my partner doesn't really get me off. Can I get prescribed some simplistic pills that I can just take before a sexual experience that will heighten my sensitivity and experience to make me enjoy this sex that I think is a bit mediocre? Do you think women would take that, or would they just continue to go like, I'm with a terrible guy, I should just dump him and find someone who I'm sexually compatible with?
That's a good question. I mean, I feel like I'm quite different from a lot of girls, and I don't necessarily mean that in a good way, but like...
You refuse to have an orgasm.
Quite the opposite. But I refuse to fake it, certainly.
Yeah, fuck it.
Because that's not doing yourself any favors.
And you're not helping that guy out either, because if he doesn't know he's...
Especially if you're in a relationship, because then he's going to think that that's what he has to do every time.
Yeah. I think my partner and I, we have a very open dialogue and very frank discourse about
it's really weird having sex with someone that doesn't talk.
Yeah.
Like, just say anything.
Well, that's childish. That's childish relationships, isn't it?
But this was the point I wanted to make.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on the cusp of that generation that came up with, like, internet porn was just starting, but we were already old enough to sort of have a sense of like morality and like,
and also a sense of the exploration, that sweetness.
Like, I'd already had sex before I saw,
hardcore pornography. Yeah, me too.
But so for the first time ever, I dated a guy that was 2 years younger than me, and I'd known him for years, and like I don't know what, like I was bored. I was like, okay, like he was fun. We were friends. We're like, we hook up, and literally within 30 seconds, he's choking me.
Oh,
like,
wow!
He just goes right for, and I fucking punched him because like. You don't opening with a choke is
a very.
That comes from porn. Like,
I was
that's
like
say, a big.
It's not MMA. Slow it down, fella.
Well, what would he do if I did that to him?
I mean, he might put you in a sleeper hold.
No.
I don't know.
I have bigger brothers.
Some great footwork. I don't know.
But what I mean is, like, it's become the norm, and porn. You never see the girl choke the guy unless you're into fetish. Like,
I mean, there's some websites.
Yeah. Okay.
But I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. He just clearly was young enough that he sort of just thought that was an acceptable thing to open with.
And the jackhammer,
which is definitely
the
not.
choking and the jackhammer.
Too fast. Men fuck too fast.
Yeah.
A lot.
And then, can I come on your face?
Oh wow. Yeah, that's bold. That's bold.
That was not the same encounter, but that was the last encounter.
When I was a young man,
I don't understand the appeal of that.
Well,
Do you know what a fucking pain in the ass?
Well, hang on a sec. First of all, I talked about
unless you're handing me $2,000 after. No.
The previous. First of all, don't put a price on it because there are people who are going to DM you now and go, hey, I've got 2K. Where are we doing this? But also, there is an element of. I think that it takes a lot of time to get to a place where you can have that conversation.
Oh, and that's the thing. Like, it can be fun to get a little rough and whatever, but you have to have a level of trust.
Fuck yeah.
Before you go. Like,
also, he's an idiot. That motherfucker's going to get Me Too'd in a heartbeat as well, because he's going to do that to someone who will go, hey, I categorically have to give you permission beforehand to even put your hands around my throat, and now I'm going to the police because I feel that you've assaulted me. He will. That will happen.
No, I know, and I shouldn't have rolled my eyes, but it's like it's got so overblown now.
I mean,
it's an overcorrection. It needed to happen, but you gotta admit it's pretty funny. Like, they did not think through that hashtag. Pound me too.
Yeah.
Hashtag is pound.
Yeah.
Hashtag is also read as pound me too.
I know. I didn't think
has a very different connotation.
I like how you're going into bits as well, even now during
it's
this.
Not a bit. I don't do it on stage because I know someone else already thought of it. Yeah. Like, it's one of those jokes, it's too good and too obvious. Like, someone's already.
The
doing
Fat Jewish has already retweeted it.
Yeah.
Without taking the other person's name out of it. He's already done it.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think without going down a wormhole of sexual assault conversation. I don't want to. Well, and also, and like, we've got to sort of wrap it. So I think the overcorrection, like you say, it's a thing that had to happen, and I'm glad that it's made men who would behave in an overtly aggressive way sexually have to second guess everything they do, because hopefully less of that shit will happen now, because men will be like, oh fuck, maybe I should ask permission for everything I do. Now, I also think that there's a natural understanding, an unspoken understanding when two people are being intimate, where you should be able to just tell that someone is comfortable in what's happening because they're responding in a way that suggests.
Unless you're a sociopath or a psychopath or autistic and you can't read.
Yeah. And also, I think there's areas of grey, because I know there's crazy fucking women in the world who will use a social movement like that to make false claims.
Well, they're almost predators
those people should
themselves,
be. They fucking are, and they should be behind bars too.
And that's what bothered me about it, because I felt like that hashtag, not the movement, but the hashtag that got associated with it, made it a cool bandwagon to jump on.
Sure.
You shouldn't want to be on that bandwagon.
I don't even know if it's like just bandwagon. I think there was a huge amount of people who just went, I've never been able to fucking actually publicly say this.
Right.
And I know without a shadow of a doubt, and I think I've actually accepted at this point now, because I've had so many conversations with women predominantly about this, that I've reached a point now where I go, what I thought was the majority of men, the behavior of a majority of men, I thought most men, I'm a little dirtbag. I fucking lick a butthole and do some crazy shit. But I'm like, I can never physically hurt a woman or do something that she didn't want to do, and I think there's like an element where I thought most men were like that. I'd go like,
no.
Hey, there's plenty of men who are just a little bit cheeky, but they won't ever actually physically assault a woman. And now I'm realizing, actually, I think there's probably...
I think Americans are worse.
It could even be half-half. It could be like as many men who will do creepy shit, and they think they're okay because it's just like, I'm just shouting at a chick in the street. But it's like, that chick walking home down a dark road and you're the guy shouting out the window at her. That's fucking scary for her. Like, that's really scary.
Oh, don't get me started on scary shit that's happened later.
And that's the lightest form of shit. So I actually have reached a point now where I think I've accepted that actually there's probably as many piece of shit men as there are good men, but there are still good men who I think outweigh could outweigh them, you know. And
but I also think it's unfair to lump everyone in the same category because there's a big difference in my book between a predator and a pervert.
Yeah. Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. is a pervert.
Yeah. Harvey Weinstein, predator.
Yeah, thank you.
Aziz Ansari,
nothing.
just like,
he couldn't rape a turtle.
No, he's just a shit date. He's a shit date. That's what he is.
And that girl is a piece of shit. She was with her boyfriend.
I know. I know the whole story.
I mean, it's
probably.
a joke.
Yeah.
But people want attention anyway, and that's what the bandwagon thing, like, you know, that upset me because it's backfiring. I heard from a good friend who's
can
a
dilute
big
real
TV executive.
Claims,
They're like, we're just not hiring women. It's dangerous.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck, I feel like now everything. If it's not fronted by, you know, a woman or a person of color or someone from the LGBTQ community, you won't see it on a billboard.
I'm not talking about the talent.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about the executives, like
being very selective. Yeah.
Yeah, like because everyone.
It'll calm down. 5 more years.
The narcissism in the society.
We're going to find
right
a
now,
balance. In 5 more years, we will have gone so far
the
that way that
overcorrection,
it's going to come back to a balance.
Yeah.
And I hope.
I hope.
Yeah.
But
I also hope that men remember. I don't want to seem like. I'm not hateful of men. I think men are wonderful, and I love alpha men. I love being alpha, and I think
I'm always with the boys. Like I feel more comfortable with them in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I love men. I just love men. Kappa pride.
And
oh God,
chicken
I love
wings and
I love going
eating
to the
them
gym
together and getting blowjobs at halftime.
I love smelling
men.
men.
That was a callback to his.
I love tasting men. I love men. I think men are great. However, I do hope the lessons we sort of learned.
Well, I think a lot of it too is the narcissism that's been created by social media and this sense of celebrity or entitlement that people have. Men in
Everyone
particular.
wants to be a public figure.
Well, but these guys that have a lot of money think that they can do it because there are girls, and it's partially some women's fault because they will
gravitate towards men because of power and money and fame.
Like I'm always
and then be surprised if they're a piece of shit and a little bit, you know, predatory.
I had a guy come pick me up on a date, and he was driving like a Lambo in fucking West Hollywood.
I don't even know what that is.
A Lamborghini.
Oh, a Lamborghini. Okay. See, that's how like I got a Toyota
I went back
Corolla
up in my,
2001. It's so
I went back up in my apartment. I was like, I
can't
get in that car. Like
right.
We're in West Hollywood. Like, what's the fucking point? You're clearly trying to show off how much money you have. You're entitled. That, to me, is a red flag. Like,
hang on, though.
And you have a small penis, obviously. So,
well, see, that's the question. Because, like, I've met guys who have really fancy cars.
Yeah, but you don't
cool
drive
dudes.
them to pick up a girl on a first date.
I mean, if he wants to impress you.
You're going in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. But he's impressing the wrong kind of girl because I'm not impressed by money. I'm impressed by quality, talent, intelligence, and being hot.
There you go. What if he turned up on horseback?
Well, he wouldn't.
Milady! And you looked out the window and he was there.
He wouldn't ride as well as I do.
Ooh.
That's a double entendre, I know. But there's actually a music video of me galloping down Sunset Boulevard on a horse bareback to find the love of my life, and then he gets on the horse with me. Nice. And he's so terrified, and you can tell, and it's so funny.
I'm kind of into that. I want to see it.
Okay.
I horse rode for 14 years.
Of course, you're
13
British.
Years, yeah.
It's a very common thing there.
Is it?
In
I
England?
think of a certain. I think it was my parents' attempt to push us into the middle class.
But it's also a lot more affordable. Like for here, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it was cheap back then, and I switched it out for rugby. And to play rugby on the weekends for
You're
the
built
Wasp
better
team.
For that, yeah.
No, I was great at horse riding.
I'm sure.
I really enjoy riding horses.
Bet.
I don't kick the horse. I just squeeze in the right place.
That's because your legs are massive.
And also when you get to that level where you know how to ride a horse, where you just go and just the right little squeeze can go from standstill to canter. You know, where I know that other people just banging it.
Watch the video. You'll see.
I want to be a cowboy
so
badly, Camilla.
I miss it. I did a little stunt riding even, but I can't do that anymore. I've had too many brain injuries.
Really?
Well, not brain
injuries. A few knocks to the head. Hemorrhaging.
Only one
Coke-induced brain aneurysms.
Well, that didn't help. But yeah, definitely unconscious concussions, massive. Yeah.
There we go.
It explains a lot.
All right. Well, what have we learned today? We've learned that being the child of a superstar definitely has its pitfalls.
I'm
However,
afraid of department stores.
it's possible to come out of that experience and have your own story, your own adventure, and your own career.
I hope so. I'm
also
trying.
not be, taken by the shallow, two-dimensional nature of money and fame and fortune. It's possible to go beyond that. Yeah. And that you've got a very exciting career ahead of you.
And I'm hilarious.
And the hilarious bit, I've seen you on stage, and you have been very hilarious when I've seen you on stage.
Have you seen me on stage?
Yeah, I've seen you on stage once, yeah. I think at the Comedy Store, one of the produced shows at the Comedy Store.
I never do the Comedy Store.
It was one of the produced shows.
Because I witnessed that murder, and it scared the fuck out of me. And
Which one?
You don't know about that?
No, someone was murdered.
Before you moved here. There was a shooting. Like, this guy walked up off the street, and there were about 7 or 8 comics, and it was someone's birthday, all hammered. I don't drink. And one guy we didn't know, walks up off the street onto that little bar area.
Yeah.
Pulls out a gun, starts shooting.
At who?
Well, we didn't know at first, but it was a gang hit. But he killed the guy. We tried to save him. He bled out. It was horrible. It was.
But so he didn't. No random people got hit in the crossfire or anything like that.
No, it was targeted. But like again, we had. I thought it was a bitter comic at first. I was like, oh, you didn't get
Yeah,
past.
Exactly.
Like,
someone didn't get a fucking spot on a Monday night potluck.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. But it was clearly very premeditated. And
I've seen someone get stabbed. I've never seen someone get shot.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be quite sad and quite frightening. And you, in the moment,
Well,
I think
when you're
I'd
somewhere
hope
where
that I
you're
would
that
like
comfortable,
spring into action. I'm good in a
like,
crisis.
That was like my living room. So you don't expect to suddenly have like. At first, I thought it was a movie shoot. Thank God, I think it was Francisco grabbed me and like pulled me under the railing and
tried to kiss you.
Would have been a great moment, but no.
This could be the last moments we have on Earth. And you kiss, fall madly in love.
And my way of handling, I get very calm in those situations. Weirdly,
So you started meditating,
no.
chanting. Oh
No, I was just trying to get. There was one girl I didn't know that I think is a comic or Mike or whatever that was screaming so loud. So I was just trying to like
get her to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, basically, because it was giving me a headache. But it's not. All
I get a
about
migraine. Stop it.
You know the craziest shit though ever.
What's that?
I know we have to wrap it up. Do you remember Hollywood Jesus? Did you meet him ever?
I know who you're talking about. He's dead now, isn't he?
He passed away, sadly.
Yeah.
Kevin, really nice guy. Used to hang out at the Comedy Store, dressed like Jesus, looked like Jesus, 6'5", couldn't miss him.
He was there that night.
He would give massages to people. He was the first person to walk out of the OR. He sees the guy on the ground, and he goes, and runs back in the building. And I was like,
J-Dog.
is this real life? Like, Jesus, do something.
He should have walked over there. Blessed him.
Poor guy.
Can you imagine though, if you're that guy on the floor with a fucking bullet hole in you, and you look up and you just see
More than
Jesus
one.
above
fired,
you,
like,
and you're like, oh my God, he is white. This is ridiculous.
That's actually pretty...
Thanks very much. It's almost like I'm a professional comedian. I do it sometimes.
Yeah, almost.
I turn it sometimes.
Yeah.
Camilla Cleese, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to wrap it up there. If people want to find you, where should they go?
Not my house.
Don't go to our house. That's fucking weird shit.
Yeah.
But like social media, website, where's the easiest way?
The thing about being named Camilla Cleese is that I can't blame any of the bad shit I did on another Camilla Cleese because I'm the only one. So it's all under my name, at Camilla Cleese.
On all social media.
CLEESE, like cheese, but with an L, because our real last name is Cheese.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Cheese?
Yeah.
Was your real surname?
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank fucking God they changed that.
Yeah, absolutely. Mine's Leach, and it stayed Leach. And maybe I should have redone it. Oh, well. Too late now.
Cary Grant's real last name was Leach.
Yeah, but he changed it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, well. It is what it is.
My dad named that character after a minute fish called Wanda.
Well, make sure you guys check out Camilla Cleese on all social media and, of course, website. Go and see her live. It's definitely worth a watch, and you will not be disappointed.
And I don't talk about chicken wings.
No, but, I mean, that's why most of them are here. I'm going to order chicken wings right now. Thanks, Camilla.
Thanks for having me.